Just tell Deb you'd rather have one.
I'd like to call this meeting to order. I'd like to welcome our delegate guests that are here tonight. And Council, welcome here. Thank you for coming. And at this moment, I'd like to turn the opening over to Councillor Jake Hiebert.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I prepared my opening to tell you all about the fantastic trip I had to England last year. However, due to this climate crisis, I've changed my topic yesterday. I believe it's important for us to stay calm, be quiet, make wise decisions, and listen to a higher authority. I have a book at home, and most of you have that same book, which speaks to these various topics. And I'd like to read some of the truths from that book. I am the Alpha and the Omega, says the Lord, who is, and who was, and who is to come, the Almighty. Be still and know that I am God. God is our refuge and strength and ever help in times of trouble. The earth is the Lord's and everything in it, the world and all who live in it. The Lord is a refuge for the oppressed, a stronghold in time of trouble. No one whose hope is in you will ever be put to shame. The Lord is the strength of his people. Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for him. Show me your ways, O Lord. Teach me your paths. Guide me in your truth. To the leaders of our country, our province, municipal councils, including Steinbach Council. If any of you lack wisdom, he should ask God. We're making big decisions. The quiet words of a wise man are more to be heeded. I have raised you up for a purpose like this. And we have this promise, for in the day of trouble, he will keep me safe in his tabernacle and set me high upon a rock. If you make the Most High your dwelling, even the Lord who is my refuge, then no harm will befall you, no disaster will come near your tent. For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in your ways. They will lift you up in their hands so that you will not strike your foot against a stone. And the Lord says, because he loves me, I will rescue him, I will protect him, for he acknowledges my name. He will call upon me, I will answer him, I will be with him in times of trouble. I will deliver him and honor him and show him my salvation. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hiebert, for those inspiring words and for showing us our hope that we have in God. Thank you. Council, we have our agenda in front of us. I'd just like, before we adopt the agenda on other business, I'd like it if we could add resolution for April council meetings. And then after we've done that, I'd like a motion to approve the agenda. Councillor Penner, second by Councillor Swagstra. Any comments?
No comments.
Anything further? Okay, I'll call for the question. All those in favor? That is carried. Council, we have the minutes on March 3rd, 2020, regular council meeting. They start on page 1. We've all had an opportunity to review them. Looking for a motion to approve.
So do.
Councillor Seaman, second by Councillor Hiebert. Any comments?
No, sir.
Anything further? I'll call for the question. All those in favor? That is carried. Okay, number 5, Council, do we any business arising from the minutes? Okay, seeing none, we'll move forward. There is no public hearing scheduled. We will skip the delegation at this time, and we will move to reports. Recommendation of the city manager, there are none. So we'll go down to 9A, under administration, the accounts payable. They're in the back of the book. Just looking for a motion to approve. Councillor Penner, second by Councillor Hiebert. Any comments?
No comments.
Anything? Okay, we'll call for the question. All those in favor? That is carried. Okay, Council 9B, on page 18 on our package, we have the Manitoba Hydro Street Lighting. This is a crescent in Lexington Village that is getting street lighting, and the Hydro is letting us know what it will cost to run this for the year. We need a motion to approve. Councillor Siemens, second by Councillor Hiebert. Any comments?
No, I guess when we allow new residential areas to open up, we do want to have street lights on them too, so make a motion to approve.
Anything further?
No further wisdom.
Anything further of council? Anything in closing? Okay, we'll call for the question. All those in favor? That is carried. Okay, 9C, page 20, we have excavator license. We need a motion to approve. Councillor Hiebert, second by Councillor Swagstra. Any comments?
No real comments. I guess we need license. Let's have them get license.
Anything further?
Even at times like this, we've still got to talk about our excavator licenses.
Anything further of council? Anything in closing?
Thank you.
Okay, call for the question. All those in favor? That is carried. Okay, 9D, we have the accounts receivable transfer to taxes. There's a schedule on page 21 of our package showing all the unpaid invoices. We're looking for a motion to transfer these to the tax roll. Councillor Penner? Anyone second by Councillor Penner?
No comment.
No comments? Nothing further? Okay, we'll call for the question. All those in favor? That is carried. Okay, 9E, we've got the 2019 grant schedule. That is on page 22. Council, you can see them. They're all broken out there. Just looking for a motion to approve. Councillor Swagstra, second by Councillor Hiebert. Any comments?
No comments.
Further? We'll call for the question. All those in favor? That is carried. Well, Council, we want to follow the provincial guidelines, so we have a few more minutes till we have to break for a recess. So I think what we'll do is we will go to number 11, correspondence and petitions. 11A, page 23. We've got the Barrier-Free Manitoba. Read the letter of support request. Council, you've all seen this and read this. How would you like to proceed? Take his information?
I would think so.
Okay. We have the 11B, the Safe Families Steinbach, the grant request on page 26. We've all had a chance to review this, Council. How would you like to proceed? Also take his information? And we've got 11C, the Town of Steinbach, or Town of St. Anne, St. Anne Hospital Health Walk. That's on page 27. Council, would you like to proceed? Also take his information at this time?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, that's good. Okay, Council, at this time, it is, we're 10 minutes into our meeting. So to abide by what the province is asking us to do, to limit our social distancing after 10 minutes. So we will recess for 5 minutes, and then we'll resume. Okay, I'd like to resume the meeting. Okay, Council, tonight we have a special guest, a treat, so to speak. We've got Wendy Galagan and Teressa Blank from the Ronald McDonald House Charities of Manitoba, and they are going to bring a delegation forward and present to us. So you can have the podium, and we're ready, willing, and willing to hear what you have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Thank you for allowing us to be here tonight during this challenging time. I asked her, Teresa, to come up and stand and present with me, but she says she's good where she is. So. But rest assured that what I'm going to present, Teresa had a big hand in. I think before I start, I just want to say that, right, it certainly is challenging times that we're going through right now, unprecedented times. We hear schools closing, libraries closing, businesses closing, corporations are having work from home strategies implemented. We all know that our healthcare workers are working strong and diligently to protect families and to support families. What we are proud of as RMHC Manitoba is that we're standing right beside those healthcare workers, supporting families with sick children. Our Ronald McDonald House is full. Our family room program, our sleeping rooms are open. We have taken measures to ensure that there's safety precautions in place. We have shut down our common areas at our family room. We have suspended our volunteer program and some of our Cart with a Heart program, so a mobile kind of support within the hospital. So we are doing everything that we can to deliver our mission in a safe way for, first and foremost, families, and then our volunteers, our staff, and our community as supporters. So we're happy to be here today to tell you kind of the success of RMHC Manitoba and what we have on the horizon. So when we talk about who we are as a charity today, it's important to talk about where we started. And so the first Ronald McDonald House was opened in 1974 in Philadelphia. And the little girl that you see in the picture, her name is Kim Hill. And she was diagnosed with childhood leukemia. So like many families, their world came to a halt, right? And they were thrown into a hospital environment. And so her parents did whatever they needed to do to be by her bedside. They slept in chairs by her bedside. They slept in her bed with her. They ate out of vending machines. They did whatever they needed to do to be with her. Their story is a little bit unique because her dad was Fred Hill, and he was a tight end for the Philadelphia Eagles. So they were surrounded by a community of supporters, organization, fans, who really kind of came together and supported them. As Kim got better and they transitioned home, they were able to come back to that community of supporters and express their thanks and gratitude, and what a blessing it was to have them surrounded by that support. But they met so many families that didn't have that support. So they wanted to do something to pay it forward. So the first Ronald McDonald House was opened in 1974. The lady that you see in the picture at the front, her name is Dr. Audrey Evans. She was the head of pediatric medicine at the Children's Hospital in Philadelphia, and she was a strong proponent of family-centered healthcare. She said doctors, nurses, caregivers are doing a really good job of taking care of the child and their healthcare needs, but if someone could take care of the families, the overall health and well-being of families and the child would be improved. So the first house was opened in 1974, and today around the world, based on that mission success, there are 375 Ronald McDonald houses, 262 family rooms, and 50 care mobiles. Right here in Canada, we have 16 houses, 17 family rooms, and 1 care mobile. And of course, bringing it right back here to Manitoba, we have the Ronald McDonald House that opened in 1984. So we celebrate 36 years of mission delivery this year, and our family room program, which opened in 2010. So the difference quickly between those two programs is the Ronald McDonald House is serving rural Manitoba families. So families that live 50 kilometers or more from Children's Hospital are being supported by the Ronald McDonald House. The Ronald McDonald Family Room is located directly within the walls of HSC, and so it is a place of comfort and support for some of the most critical cases. And in that case, it doesn't matter whether you live in Winnipeg or whether you live in Steinbach or Brandon or Churchill. Sometimes a block away is too far when your child is critically ill. So that space is directly within the hospital. So prior to 2010, we were a charity located in Winnipeg, serving rural Manitoba families. With the opening of the family room in 2010, we are a Manitoba charity serving both Winnipeg and rural Manitoba families. When we look at the success of our mission in 2019, we served 2,040 families with overnight accommodation and day use programming. Total nights of accommodation were 5,311. And when we look at the average length of stay at the Ronald McDonald House was 15 nights, and the longest stay was 151 nights. So it kind of gives you an idea of the impact of our mission. We've always known right from the first day that we opened 36 years ago that families need to be together, families are better together, but our donors and our stakeholders are saying, you know, what kind of an impact are you having financially on those families? So we looked at quantifying some of that support. So average support to our families at the house or the family room is about $200 a day, and that includes accommodations. It includes breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It includes parking, transportation, laundry services, lots of programming for families. So at $200 a day, it doesn't matter whether that's a family made up of one person or 4 people. So these numbers are conservative. Over $1.307 million in out-of-pocket expenses is saved by our mission delivery for families. So really proud of the impact that we're having each year on the families that we serve. When we look at our families and where they come from, when we look at those overall families, both overnight accommodations and day use, you can see that there's a large number of Winnipeg families being served, 37%, northern Manitoba, southern, so that is where we are right now. The southeastern, we're following the hospital kind of regional terms, so they call southern Manitoba is the southeastern part of the province, Prairie Mountain is the Westman region, and then of course Interlake, and we serve a large number of families from northwestern Ontario as well. So when we isolate to just our sleeping rooms, you can see that those numbers change. So you can see that the southeastern part of the province is the largest number of families that we've served with overnight accommodations, and then Prairie Mountain, and then Winnipeg, northwestern Ontario, and so on. So it kind of gives you an idea of when we look at our families overall with both the day use program and overnight, and then when we just isolate our overnight families. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to really kind of show you how many families we're serving from your community. So in the Steinbach area alone, 22 families in 2019. When we looked at a 50-kilometer radius of Steinbach, you can see all those other communities listed. So a total of 88 families in 2019 were supported by RMHC Manitoba. And that would be Steinbach and a 50-kilometer radius of all those. And I'm sure that there's a few that fell through the cracks, so that number is probably even a little bit higher. We are meeting the needs, the growing needs of our families. We often operate at 100% capacity. We have a hotel partnership with Canadians HSC, so if we're full, our families can stay there during a waiting period, but we often operate at 100% capacity and just don't have the room to serve families when they need it. And that's because more kids are healing. More kids today are healing than ever before. It's just their healing journey is more complex. It's taking longer, and so families need to be supported even more than ever. So we are building a new Ronald McDonald House. We work closely with our hospital partners to say, what are the pediatric projections for the next 5, 10, 15 years? And so looking at their numbers based on the population of Manitoba, we have a capital campaign in excess of 20 million. And that capital campaign will mean that we are growing our mission 186%. So from our current 14-bedroom house, we are expanding to 40 bedrooms. And that will allow us to, of course, most importantly, serve and support more families. I can tell you that for us as RMHC Manitoba team, as the frontline staff, the hardest thing to do is to say, you know, when you get that phone call from a family or from a hospital partner, to say that we're full, right, that we can't support them. So it's going to allow us to serve more families. Our rooms will be larger and more comfortable for families as their length of stay is increasing. It's important to give them a little bit more space. When the house was built in 1984, it was built with communal living. It was built with how do we serve as many families as possible in the most economical and efficient way. And so we have communal living. We have shared washroom facilities that are cleaned professionally by our staff every day. But the new house, based on today's standards, will have private washroom facilities for each room. So very similar to a hotel room, right? We will have specialty suites for bone marrow and solid organ transplant patients. We will have safe and secure outdoor spaces for families and parking, and we will have lots of increased programming space as well. And I mean, why I alluded to that and talked about it, that more kids are healing than ever before, but these are the numbers, and so the numbers really speak the volume. I mentioned that we often operate at 100% capacity, but in 2019, there were 205 families that were on our wait list, and that totaled 789 total wait list nights. Average wait list nights per family were 4 nights. So those are the ones that we know of, right? There's often some that our hospital partners are calling and we're saying we're full. So they're busy, their day is full, so they're just not, they stop calling, right? So again, we feel that those numbers are underreported, but even at underreported, that's a significant amount of families that we weren't serving. We had 148 bookings at our hotel partner for a total of 377 nights that families stayed at the hotel. And we have a great partnership with Canadians HSC, but you know, it's a 50% discount, which ends up to be about $80, $85, plus tax, plus parking, plus meals are not included. So it ends up to be a significant cost to families when they least expect it, right? Childhood illness or injury often strikes when it's least expected. So, for families to have to pay an additional, $100+ a night for an extended period of time is difficult. So we transition those families back to the house as much as possible. So our new Ronald McDonald House will have naming rights opportunities. We have lots of naming rights throughout there, and we just started this recently. So our friends at McCain Foods, McCain's have been a longtime supporter, have already jumped in and said that, of course, they're a food company. They want one of the kitchens to have as a naming right. So it just kind of gives you an idea of some of the spaces. And the naming rights opportunities range from a $2.5 million space at $1 million at $4 million, $7 million at $500,000, 10 at 250, and then 6 at 100,000. And gifts are given to us. In 1 to 5 years. So you can phase gifts over 1 to 5 years, right? As far as capital campaign support. So really today we're here to tell you what we're doing. We want to share the mission. We want to share the success of what we do each and every day to support families. And we're looking for transformational gifts and lead donors. So you are one of the biggest regions, as you saw there, so we're looking for you to be champions and advocates, share news of the capital campaign, make introductions. We are more than willing to come out anytime and have meetings. I know that the circumstances that we face right now are a little challenging, so we can do that teleconferencing, we can do that whatever works, right? Teresa and I talked about, as maybe things settle down, maybe there's a day that we can come and do a community public open house where we can have conceptual design images and we can actually show people what that new house is going to look like. And we can really just add some excitement and possibly generate some support for families as we move forward. Our capital campaign, I mentioned, in excess of 20 million. We are currently at 45% of that goal. Our biggest thing is that RMHC Manitoba is governed by RMHC Canada, which is governed by RMHC Global. So RMHC Global is in Chicago, and RMHC Global will not let us break ground until we have 80% of our funds raised. And that's a protection, a brand protection. So we are having lots of great conversations with lots of great prospects, and we're really confident that we'll get there. But just the more news that can be spread and the more kind of, support that we can garner is really what we're looking for. And we always bring it back to, right, we bring it back to our mission, right? Because I can talk about the stats, I can talk about the numbers, and they're impressive, and they certainly speak to the success of our mission. But at the end of the day, it really means because families need to be together, right? They need to be close to each other, and they need to be close to the healthcare system that they need. And that's it. We want to thank you for your time. We welcome any questions, but I don't know if I went over my 10 minutes, or sometimes I do that. Sorry.
Well, thank you very much. It was a great presentation, and we really appreciate what you do in the community, in the healthcare community, and keeping families together. And yeah, it makes sense that a family that's together and healthy the outcome will be faster. I guess healing will be better. All those things. But I just want to ask Council, are there any questions for Wendy at this time? Okay, well then, thank you. We'll take this as information. And as far as coming out again, we will, we can definitely contact you at
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Teresa has some packages, so she'll. I have one here, and
Thank you very much.
yeah, and my card's in there, and Teresa's contact information is on our website. So reach out anytime if you have questions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Have a safe trip home. Okay, Council, we will go to number 10 now, Council question period. Are there any questions of Council? Yes, Council Penner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As has been said already, we are living in an uncertain time with COVID-19 virus sweeping across the globe. It is also no secret that Steinbach has a significant faith in church community. As a result, I was wondering if the Mayor and Council would support designating this Sunday, March 22nd, as a community day of prayer for Steinbach, our region, our province, country, and the world as it seeks to navigate COVID-19 and its reverberations that will be felt well into the future. If the mayor and council agree to this, I suggest we contact church leaders as well as post information on social media to inform and encourage people to pray as a community this Sunday.
Well, thank you, Councillor Pinner. Well, I definitely think that's a good idea. How does council feel on that? Any comments?
You got my vote.
I would fully support it.
Let's do it.
Okay, if it's fully supported. Is that something we should make a motion on, or do just consensus good enough? We'll just ask the community to join us all in prayer on that day.
Either's fine.
You're
You've got
good
something
with
right
that?
now if you want to make a motion. But
Or just
Doesn't matter to
consensus
me
of
how we do it.
Council's good enough?
Yeah, it doesn't make a difference, I don't think, in terms of
Okay.
that. So if everybody agrees, then we can talk further about it maybe tomorrow to see how
Okay,
we
yeah,
want
we
to.
can definitely touch
information
base on
out.
that tomorrow. Get some information out to contacts at churches
Yeah.
and just invite the entire community to pray.
Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and, that brings us down to number 12, other business, resolution for the April council meetings. Councillor Swagstra, you have a motion?
yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Ray. I'll make the motion and then wait for a seconder. Be it resolved that the regularly scheduled council meetings of April 7th and 21st be subject to change, postponement, or cancellation at the discretion of the mayor with 72 hours notice and all other notice requirements as per the procedural bylaw. I so move.
Okay, do we have a seconder for that? Councillor Hiebert? Okay, go ahead, Councillor Swagstra.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think the reason for this is obvious. With the COVID-19 pandemic, this is a serious issue, and it's one that all levels of government are working very hard to implement all necessary measures. We know this could have an impact on our regularly scheduled council meetings. We have public hearings that are coming up. We have our budget, which is coming up. But when you have an emergency situation, council meeting dates may need to be changed, postponed, or canceled. And so we don't want to right now announce that those meetings will be canceled because we don't know how the next few weeks will develop, but we want to give the option so that the mayor has the ability with 72 hours notice to be able to change those meeting dates. And if we don't pass a motion like this, then what we would have to do under a procedural bylaw is we would have to convene a special meeting in order to cancel one of these meetings. And that kind of defeats the purpose of canceling a meeting if we have to convene one in order to do that. So by passing this, it gives the mayor the discretion. I think that's appropriate in this circumstance.
Anything further?
Nothing further.
Anything further of council? Yes, Councillor Penn.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. It's been very evident that right now we're in a time that we do not need to panic, but we need to plan and we need to use precaution. And that's exactly what this is doing. This is planning future precautions that we aren't in a situation where we need to be reactive, but we are prepared for that. And I think everybody personally needs to be doing that as well and looking at where they need to be planning and where they need to be doing personal precautions to resolve this as quickly as possible as a society as a whole. So I thank Councillor Swagstra for putting this motion forward.
Anything further? Anything in closing?
Just very briefly, Mr. Mayor, to say that whether these meetings go ahead or its future ones, our meetings will resume. Life will go back to normal. The city will continue. And this is a short-term blip, but things will go back to normal.
Yes. Yes, thank you, Council. I do agree. I think we definitely need to hold our options open, and we never want to cancel a meeting if it's possible to go through, but we don't know where we're going to be. Yes, April 7th, 3 weeks away, but we don't know what's going to happen in 3 weeks. The COVID-19 seems to be changing yesterday was changing by the hour, and it seems to change every day. So we'll definitely have to see where this takes us, but this gives us options to go there safely. Okay. Call for the question. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Need a motion for adjournment? Councillor Penner, second by Councillor Hiebert. Call for the question. All those in favor? That is carried. And our next regular council meeting is Tuesday, April 7th, on 2020 at 7:30. Lord be willing.